Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Christina with Cuddles by Christina, and happy Sunday everyone. Another weekend video. I don't think I've made a Sunday video in a long time. Long time, but I just wanted to see how everyone's weekend was going so far. It was a lazy Sunday here and yeah, not too much else going on, so I figured I would do a tag that had been going around, started by Students Reborn Nursery, and it is a collection tag, basically showing off your collection, or just showcasing a special baby, your favorite baby, and why. Well, I wasn't gonna be able to show my whole collection. We all know how that would go. We'd be here for hours, days. So instead of, doing my whole collection of 50 million, 11,000 babies, whatever it's up to now, I did want to share my very first authentic artist rendered Reborn and why he's so special to me. So you have all seen him before many times, and I'm trying not to repeat myself too much. I am going to go into more of his story, a bit more detail about why he means so much to me, but I do have a lot of new subscribers who may not really know much about me or my collection or how and why I have him, so I figured that would be a fun video. So this is my Tobias, and he is the Felicity Asleep kit from Bountiful Baby. I believe that kit is sold out. Now, normally, when a kit is like one gender or another, I rarely change it, except for the gender swap yesterday. But this baby, the way he is painted, I couldn't see anything but boy. So he was painted by Alicia Garner at Alicia's Angels, and I just love this outfit on him. This outfit is so cute. It says, well, if his arms would stop covering it, it says "Stay Golden" with a little sun on it, and cute little terry cloth shorts. It's a little big on him. This is a newborn size, but he is tiny. But it just made me think of The Outsiders, Stay Gold. I love that poem, and that's why I dressed him in this outfit. So there are a couple different reasons he's so special to me. So he was a gift I won from Anne over at Dolls in the Cradle. This would have been probably about 1.5 years ago already. Yeah, it'll be 2 years in October. And I know the exact timeline because of what I'm going to explain. So Anne was one of the first channels I really started following and watching on my Dolly Reborn YouTube journey, as it were. And she was doing a giveaway for this little one. And at this point in my collection, I really only had Ashton Dragon Paradise Galleries. That was it. I had 0 authentic artist rendered Reborns, and I was so excited to get to hold one and see one in person. So when Anne drew my name, I freaked out. I started crying, sobbing, and the timing was just perfect. I have always said the right baby ends up with the right person at the right time. And this was proof of that. So I'll tell you why. Not only, was he a gift and my first Reborn, Tobias came to me during a very, very difficult time in my life. As I've, mentioned here and there, but when I won him, my dad had just been recently diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And it was just one thing after another. He was diagnosed on September 25th, and my dad passed away January 7th, 1.5 years ago. not this past January, the January before of 2024. So he went downhill very, very quickly. And it was just a really chaotic, stressful, horrible time. And we didn't know how long we would have with him, what was going to happen. First, when he was diagnosed, the oncologist said, the usual timeline, he gave us maybe 18 months, 18 to 27 months, which still isn't a lot. But, we thought, okay, at least there's a bit of time. So my dad was in and out of the hospital October, November. So every night I would hold this little guy and kind of try not to cry. I'm sorry this isn't one of my usual more upbeat videos, but I do think it's important to share. Since Father's Day isn't just a couple weeks, and that's always rough for me anyway, this is very therapeutic. So yeah, like every time, my dad would be in the hospital, or I'd visit him at the house if he was released. Tobias gave me so much comfort and peace. Just the way, not only his expression, the way he looked, but just holding him, his weight, the way he feels. And my dad even held Tobias. I've shared a picture a couple times of him in his recliner holding my baby. And he never cared about my dolls. He didn't necessarily understand it, but he always said, listen, you do what makes you happy. And this was a lifeline for me when I was going through something that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. I absolutely I'm still reeling from it. It was very, very traumatic. Just how fast everything happened. Like I said, September 25th, he was fine. He had just had some pain in his hip. We thought he might need a hip replacement because he was a manager at Chili's. He was on his feet and he was still working 60, 70 hours a week at, 63, 64 years old. And then when my aunt passed away that summer, just a month before, my mom had been begging my dad, you have to go to the doctor. You have to get this checked out. You're in pain. My sister just died. Let me grieve my sister. I can't deal with it right now. So my aunt passed away in August. It'll be 2 years. We had her memorial service September 23rd. And less than 48 hours later is when my dad was diagnosed. I still remember everything about that morning. I'd called my mom earlier than I usually do, but just to check in because I hadn't been feeling good with allergies. And she said, well, your father's on his way to the hospital. I told him that he has to get checked out because he's still in pain. And he had hidden it super, super well. So I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy. I'm glad he's getting checked out. Keep me updated. 2 hours later, she calls me back. They found a softball-sized mass on his right lung. We have to go to the hospital. I don't even think I said goodbye. My mom said I just hung up. I was in such a state of shock. I had to call my boss saying I have a family emergency. I have to leave. Just so we could find out more about what the prognosis was, what we could do. And the doctor was great when he came in to see us. Normally, he's used to talking to people who already know what they have. They've already gotten tests and confirmed, and they're just going into his office for treatment plans. Like, he never walked in to an emergency room and had to tell a family, yeah, it's cancer, and we have to figure out the next step. And he was great. So, my dad had started chemo, and he never got better. He never got better. And my mom had run into the oncologist a few months ago, and he said still he is baffled. He said, I cannot believe Mario went that quickly and he didn't respond to treatment like at all. So in a way that made me feel a little better. I'm like, well, if the oncologist was baffled and can't make sense of it, I won't be able to either. It just, for whatever reason, his body just did not respond to chemo. And right before Christmas, when we kind of knew there was nothing left to try, my dad had told me, you have to keep up the morale of this family. You have to keep everyone upbeat. I'm sorry, guys. You have to be the morale booster. And I said I didn't know how to do that. And he said, yes, you do. Yes, you do. That was the job he gave me. So, just a couple weeks later, less than a couple weeks later, we finally knew it was time for him to go into hospice. And of course, with hospice, you never know the exact timeline. Some people are there days, it could be weeks. So we figured, we'd be in there still for a bit, a bit of a long haul. And I'll never forget it. It was a Saturday afternoon. And I went over to my parents' house. My dad was in the hospital bed. He wasn't really responsive at this point. And when they came to take him, I went out on the back porch because I knew I could not watch my dad leave that house knowing he'd never come back. And I feel so guilty about that to this day. I feel selfish that I couldn't put my own feelings aside to be there for my dad, to walk him out of the house. I'm sorry, guys. Still one of the regrets I have, that I had to leave. I could not be there to watch it. And after a few minutes, my brother came out, gave me a big bear hug. He said, you need to come in and give Mom a hug, because she's not okay. He's like, you have to come back in. So I did. We all just kind of gathered around. We gave them time to get my dad settled before we went to hospice. And then my best friend told me that she had walked out with my dad. And that made me feel better, because when she realized that I couldn't go out there, my mom wasn't, my brother, like none of us could. My best friend is like my sister. She's my unbiological sister, grew up with her. And she said, no, I went out there with him so he wasn't alone. And he opened his eyes and he looked right at me and he was peaceful. Like, it was like he acknowledged, like, it's okay. I know you're here. Thank you. It's okay. So that made me feel better, that he knew she was there and that he was at peace at that moment, being transported. But I should have been out there. I should have put my feelings aside. I shouldn't have been selfish, and I should have been able to hold my dad's hand. But I can't change that now. So we were all going to just take turns, staying at hospice, however long he was going to be there. And that night, my mom and my sister decided to stay, because I had been staying with him at the hospital. My dad had specifically asked for me to sleep at the hospital when he was there, in and out. So my sister said, I'll sleep there tonight, even though she was very pregnant, and my mom. So that night, of course it was difficult to sleep, but when I woke up that morning and I saw that no one had called, there had been no messages, I said, oh, thank God, okay, so everything's okay for now. Not 2 minutes later, my brother calls me. My brother calls and he just said 3 words. He said, hey, it happened. And as much as I knew what was going to be the outcome, there's no way to prepare. There's no way to prepare. I was still in a state of shock. So my best friend came to get me, so we could go to hospice together, and my dad had waited until my mom had crawled into bed next to him, and that's when he finally passed that morning. My sister said his breathing had been really labored all night. You know, the nurses were checking on him, and finally my sister told him, Dad, if you have to go, it's okay. You don't have to fight anymore. And my mom crawled next to him, laid her head on his chest, and that's when he went. He knew. He knew. And if I had been the one to be there that night, I know that I wouldn't have been able to say, it's okay to go, Dad. You know, I would not have. So I think that's how it needed to work out, my sister being there. And of course my mom, because he and my mom had been together since they were 15. So he waited until my mom was right next to him, and he passed. And it still feels like a nightmare that I'm trying to wake up from. I miss him every single day, especially the holidays, his birthday, Father's Day. It's, you know, it's only been a year and a half, so I know that time heals, quote unquote. I don't think it heals. I think it just makes it more bearable. But during that whole time, and that night I got home and I didn't have my dad anymore, this guy was here for me, waiting for me. So it helped as much as anything else I could take or use, like any type of alcohol or drug, what have you. You know, that this is what I needed to comfort me. So I am so sorry, guys. I'm trying to hold it together. Again, I know this isn't my usual happy-go-lucky video, but I really wanted to share more of that story and what this baby means to me. He is absolutely a forever baby. He will always be a favorite, always have a special place in my nursery and in my heart. And I just love him. So I hope you enjoyed seeing him, even though the subject matter was not the most upbeat. But if you stuck with me this long, almost 20 minutes in, we're closing in on, ay, Maron, I need to rein it in. But I do appreciate you guys listening and letting me just get all of that out, because it helps. It really does. Talking to you guys and holding him. Yes, so just one more quick look at this beautiful boy. Yeah. And look at his hair. Just gorgeous. So yeah, as much as, you know, people can make fun of this hobby, these are inanimate objects, don't tell me that these beautiful works of art can't heal and have amazing impact on us for a variety of reasons, not just grief, you know, anything at all. So I love you guys. Thank you so much, Susan, for creating this tag. I'll probably, I don't know, I might spotlight a few more babies. We'll see. But Tobias is definitely my number one. And I hope everyone is enjoying their weekend so far. And I will be back very soon, I'm sure. No more box openings this week, at least. But thank you. I love you. And we will see you guys next time. Take care, guys.